Excuse me? I'm here. You're okay.
Ma'am, this is a restricted area. You need to go back to the waiting area. Let's go, come on.
Who are you?
I'm your sister.
Who knocked over my bike?
It was me, bro.
It wasn't you. You think you can just do whatever you want?
Jack!
No! That's enough. I'm their father, not you.
Why does he hate me so much? He's just jealous that you have it so good.
You don't need to be here around the clock.
Do you want me to go?
He's gonna be okay. Go home. I'm not gonna leave him.
TMZ has confirmed it, the LA Times, a lot of news sources, and it's just crazy.
Michael Jackson's dead.
We currently have Michael Jackson's body here at the coroner's office.
Another one bites the dust.
Real nice, AJ.
He loves you. He really does.
I don't want to die.
He's going to be okay.
How do you know that?
Where there is love.
I'll be there.
So this film, I will admit, had me a little bit frustrated at first because I felt for Grace because I wanted her to like get some kind of not only an apology from AJ, but from everyone. You know, I was waiting for her to have that catharsis of people acknowledging we hurt you, our negligence hurt you, our dismissal hurt you, and like even from her parents, like she didn't get that. And so I would admit that that frustrated me a lot with the film. But something, and so I related with Grace. I related to Grace a lot in that way. But Ryan, I actually also related to AJ a lot because I've been in the hospital multiple times. I've had multiple surgeries, so I've had that experience of being in the hospital where you're in bed and it's very difficult not being able to move your body the way you want your body to move, and your body's doing these things that you're not accustomed to. So I want you both to talk about how the both characters are frustrated, but for very different reasons. Grace is frustrated because AJ isn't hearing what she's saying. You know, he's saying that you're holding on to a grudge, and she's like, it's not just a grudge. Like the things you guys said to me and did to me hurt me, you know, and like so it's like that's pain, that's trauma. So that frustrates her. So she wants to be there for him, but AJ is frustrated because he's physically incapacitated and his body is not working the way he wants it to work. So can you both talk about just like tapping into the frustration of your characters and how they have that similarities, but they don't even notice it, that they're not realizing that they have that shared experience. So I'll let Ryan go first this time because Jasmine, you answered first the first two times.
Wow. So I can lob some shots at Jazz. Well, I think that's really interesting, Carol, because sorry, Carolyn, it's interesting because I know and have relationships where people will not apologize. And so that is also a very human component of life where it's like, oh, they will apologize like this. And part of my responsibility, I think, as a human being is to kind of give grace to certain ways of interaction, because I know that is something they weren't taught. And that's not necessarily, oh, that's the best version of going through the world. No, but is it something that I have to live with and go, my responsibility is me, and my responsibility is taking care of what is given to me. And then if someone apologizes by their actions or by the push, or like the push toward going back and talking with family, I see that as part of, you know, just the human experience that we're in. And yeah, I'm a fit guy, you know, and so being held down for me has always felt like a really frustrating thing. And at the same time, on where I sat as a as a family member within this story, I was also observing Jazz's character, Grace, and as she was going through, she had run away. So there were all these years that she didn't actually get to see the growth. And I've experienced that too, where it's like people see you as that, 14-year-old boy. And I'm like, you haven't known me for 24 years now. Like, you're holding on to something that was my past. But at the same time, maybe that crust of that 14-year-old boy is still there. So when that's acknowledged and shown and said, hey, like, this is irritating. Well, okay, that's from the past. Maybe there's still a crust, but how can you best serve someone and help them remove that crust? Or are you just going to irritate? And families do that. We love and are hurt most by our families. And so that's why I think this film is such a potent story. And I also very much identified with Jazz's story because I'm the only one in New York City away from my family. And I have kind of run away from a lot of things because I had a different gaze on the world and an artistic gaze on the world. So I think that was really fun to play with and kind of push her buttons while offering her the answers, yeah, that's my long-winded version of that.
For me, I said that I took this film for not only family reasons, because I read it with my brother and got to like think about things like that from that perspective, but also because I identify with this. Like, Ryan talked about the family part of it, and there's also the part about you could think about it this way, but like being a Black woman in America is kind of like, all right, you're gonna get a lot of shit thrown at you. You're gonna get a lot of people looking at you a certain way. You're gonna be interpreted a certain way, and that's a lot of times beyond your control. Especially in our industry, but often just like in the world. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir, and so a lot of the times you're not going to get an apology for people looking at you differently. You're not going to get any kind of like anything beyond, oh, that's what it was, move on beyond it. You have to keep going. Even within our own community, it's like, no, we can't rest or we can't get that apology or any kind of like emotional reparations, even from those instances. You just have to keep going or rise above it or be the better person. Or if they go low, we go high kind of thing. And that is something that I definitely felt playing this character. And I too was very frustrated because I'm all about justice. I'm like, okay, if this happens, someone needs to talk about it. Like, we need to have a conversation. We need to fix it. And in families, sometimes that is not what's happening. That is not the truth. That is not, it's what you want, but it's not going to happen. And so the bigger part of that is like, how do you find the love even after you have all this resentment? Or how do you work on yourself to get past that? Or what relationships do you maintain once you know what your threshold is? Because I got a lot of personal growth also happened during the filming of this, because I was learning those lessons for myself as well, which is crazy to think like, oh, you go to work, you think you're just going to go work. And you're like, I'm like, oh no, I have stuff I have to address in my family too. Like, I have stuff in my friendships I got to work on because this character is going through this and I'm also seeing this mirror. So it was a very eye-opening experience, and I too was frustrated. You are not alone. Like, you got it. I felt the same way. But it was super helpful because the character is also very frustrated and learns to find some kind of peace in this whole dynamic. Yeah.
I don't know. Thank you. Both of you give like great answers, and like I too have learned, have had to have times where I had to learn to like say, you know what? Sometimes letting go really is the better option emotionally. So like I appreciate that and appreciate you saying that for both of your perspectives. So thank you.
Thank you for a great question.